Shall he do to them as they tried to do to him? Or what? You know, you want to talk about playing God. Joseph is in that position because he certainly has the power to do whatever he wishes with these brothers of his. To make their lives the terror that his had been, to open up them to all sorts of problems. He has that godlike power. He's been given the signet ring, and in Egypt, that's the same as having God's power because the Pharaoh is seen as God. And so Joseph says to them, "You're spies. You come down to see where the land is vulnerable because there's no food out there and there's lots of food here, and you want to come and take our food. You're spies. I don't trust you." And the brothers say, no, of course. No, that's not our fault. We just came to buy food. We're simple people. We just want to buy food. And finally, he says to them, "Oh, you have another brother? One of you go back and get him and bring him down. And then we'll see if you're telling the truth." But they don't want to do that. They know that Benjamin is not something that their father will let out of his sight. They go back and forth, and finally, Joseph sends all back but one. Simeon, he keeps in jail to keep them on the short string. God has a way of finding us out, doesn't he? He has a way of getting down to the core of what's happened. He has a way of bringing our responsibilities to us so that we have to face them by no other person's power but his. Be sure your sins will find you out. The brothers have discovered this. Read in Genesis 42, verse 21. They said to one another, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come on us." Now, how did they arrive at that conclusion? How did they decide that this was all about Joseph? They don't recognize Joseph. They're looking at him, but they don't recognize him. Why, after all these years, is that what comes up? Maybe it's because when they sold him, he knew that the Midianites were taking him to Egypt. Do you wonder if they're going down to Egypt and they're going, "I wonder if we'll see him down there. What happens if we see him in this terrible place? We're going to have to deal with that guilt all again." And then there's the trouble they have with each other. If they're willing to sell one brother, what if you do something a little wrong and the rest of them decide to sell you this time? Do you think that was on their minds? If they couldn't even trust, he couldn't trust them, how can they trust each other? And the difficulties that come there? Did they realize the grief that they caused their father, who loved Joseph greatly? And that was something he always brought up to them? Where is your brother and what's happened to him? Until they were tired of hearing it, but even more worried because he might discover what they had done. This guilt weighed on them, as guilt always does. See, the brothers have not built a life of faith, not a life of trust in God. They tried to secure their own fortunes by getting rid of this upstart who was taking all the best parts of the family's fortune. They tried to say that he was gone, killed by a wild animal, that he was out of the way. But it didn't bring them peace. It only assured conflict and fear and hurt and anger and distrust. We have to look. What is God doing here? What's going on? Is he setting the stage for Joseph to have his revenge? Certainly it could happen. And it sounds like an option for Joseph. I'm pretty sure the first inclinations they had in mind were, well, let's see what we can do here. And he certainly made them uncomfortable. He locked them up. He accused them of being spies, people who were going to destroy Egypt. He put them away and conveniently treated them as worse as he could. It seemed at least that he could get in their face and give them, "I told you so. You should have been straight with me." Dream of telling them off, seeing them squirm, and parading that before them. Or is God setting the stage for reconciliation? We don't like to talk about reconciliation. Because if we're angry, we have to let go of our anger. If we feel like we've been wrong, we have to let go of that. If we've done something wrong and caused the hurt, in reconciliation, we have to own up to it. We don't like to do any of these things. We don't like it at all. But now Joseph has been renamed the Savior of the world by the Pharaoh. By insight from God, I think Pharaoh did this because it's not just the land of Egypt. It's the Savior of the whole world, because this is bringing about the kingdom that will bring Jesus Christ to this world, to save us each for our failures, our sins, our hurts, and our sorrows. He's given the power of Pharaoh in the land, but he's given the spiritual power of God to bring about healing from sorrow and hurt and grief. And the brothers who hated and hated Joseph, who tried to do the worst to him, are driven to admit their guilt because of the famine. The choice that they had made to grasp for themselves has fallen through. And now they have to come back to the very person they wronged and face up to their sin. Joseph and his brothers are receiving a very severe mercy here. We think of mercy as something that's gentle and kind and sweet, but sometimes to receive mercy is a harsh confrontation that requires us to change, whether we like it or not. This is what happens here. The brothers had dreamed of an easy life with Jacob's wealth, with each one having his own slice of power and influence, saying that this is what I deserve because I'm Jacob's son. And I've increased my portion because I got rid of this one brother who was such trouble. They've made for themselves their own path. It's what they deserve. And yet they are brought judgment because of it. They're confronted by their own sin and failure. They're driven back to that same Joseph for mercy. And God had for them mercy. God has blessed the people of this world with things they did not create, given us a place that we did not earn. He made for us the ability to come into His presence even though we don't deserve it. God blesses these things to us and for our purposes. In order to receive them, we have to give up the things that we call our rights. We have to receive the grace that only God gives, not because we've earned it or that He owes it to us, but because He gives it to us kindly and redeems us from our sins. We have to trade in our independence for dependence upon Him. We have to trade in our hope in ourselves for hope in Jesus Christ, the God who is giving Him power to save us, just as the brothers did. And we come before the Lord in much the same place that Joseph's brothers came before Him, because we have done things that deserve punishment. Each of us has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We've done what's wrong. And in order to receive that gift, we are forced to admit our sin, admit the harm that we have done to God, to those who are around us, and to beg for that mercy that only He can give. And that's the promise. Not that we deserve God's blessing, not that we deserve these good things He wants to give us, that we receive it anyway because He has loved us even more than we love ourselves. Jesus said these words in the book of John. Don't let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I'm going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may be where I am. And it's that gift that we celebrate today, in this time of communion. In the sharing of those bread and the juice, we were reminded that Jesus died in our place and made a way for us. He covered that sin for us so that we could live in the presence of the Lord. But we have to receive it as a gift. We don't deserve it. It's nothing we can demand. We haven't earned it. We're not good enough. Never will be. But because He's loved us, we have this opportunity. We have to come with empty hands and trusting Him, not ourselves. That's a hard one for us in America. We're a wealthy nation. We're a self-sufficient people. We want to believe that we can accomplish anything in this world. We can put a man on the moon. I'm not really sure what that's done for us, but we put a guy up there. He came back. Barely. But the Lord has made a way for us to have a full life of joy, of peace, and rest with Him, if we'll only receive it. meditation hymn is 409. I know whom I have to believe. That is the Lord. We must know that there's this one man who stands between us and death. And it is our choice to receive this gift or not. This morning, if you haven't made that choice, if you haven't made that relationship with Jesus Christ, it's time to take that step. Because guilt is upon us, and the time of reckoning is coming. Let's stand to